Hey guys, welcome back. So today, as you can see, going to be talking about Homeworlds. Now, just a few days ago, I put out a video where I was ranking all the sets in Star Wars, and I provisionally placed Homeworlds and Icons, the two sets that we knew about from the rest of 2026, um, in my tier list where I thought they would probably wind up. Now, I recorded that prior to um, Galactics, and so I didn't have access to any spoilers for Homeworlds. And so, if you go back and watch that, that's just what I was thinking would be happening. I think I posted that right around Galactics, but right around Galactics, all of a sudden, bam, we started getting stuff coming out for Homeworlds, and it is so cool. And we're going to talk about it. So, before we get started, I just have to lodge a complaint to FFG. Please don't ever again give us spoilers for a set that is not coming out until after another set, but don't give us spoilers for the set that is coming out before the other set that you already gave us spoilers for. I get that you swapped the order, but know your place. The set that's coming needs to know its place. Homeworld. Okay, I'm not gonna talk anymore. That really annoyed me, but we do finally have spoilers, so I'm not mad anymore. Let's dive into them. Let's dive into them. This is what we know. We're going to talk about what we know in the set as it's coming up. Now, Homeworlds, first and foremost, is really about this idea of um, what we had always been predicting and it was going to be is just this tribal integration with emphasis on location for the first time. Just prior to getting these spoilers, I was at Weekly Play and I was talking with one of the guys at Weekly Play about, okay, what are we going to start seeing in Homeworlds? And I'm thinking maybe we start to see things that actually start to interact with the traits on bases, which the traits on bases, if you don't know, are like the name of the planet, or like, there's one that's the Death Star is the trait, where it's talking about how like it's the green one in JTL, or there's, one that's Naboo, or there's one that's Kashyyyk, or blah 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 blah, whatever, blah 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 blah. All these little things, and like maybe we're gonna start seeing things that interact with that for the first time, right? Um, so, and obviously, inter trait synergy, and so we were talking about that, and boom, it was like the next day I think we started getting these spoilers, and this is what we're seeing. This is so fun. So what you can see here is a set of bases. One is a Naboo, one is Kashyyyk, one is Endor, and the other is Tatooine. From what we are hearing, we're probably going to be getting one of the four colors for each of those four planets. I think is from what I'm hearing. Unfortunately, one of the Tatooine bases is going to be Mos Eisley, which we are actually going to be seeing as a reprint also in Icons. Not thrilled with that. I'm not gonna lie. Could we have maybe done maybe Mos Espa or something, or found some other location? Maybe done like a space. Or I don't know. It just kind of bothers me that they're taking this card that was printed in what, JTL, and then they're gonna reprint it in Homeworlds and then again in Icons right after. That bothers me. But hopefully that will be the only reprinted base. It seems so far. I haven't seen any other reprinted bases, at least in Homeworlds. And Icons, I think we are getting another one or two. But this is kind of what we're going to see. It's going to be these bases that matter, really kind of matter for the first time. This is where, those vanilla bases are actually going to matter. And I'm really interested to see how that's going to affect limited play. Really interested to see. Now, the only one of the bases that's currently on SWOODB right now is the Dune Sea, because this is the only one that we have like a high quality picture of. This is another Tatooine base. This is the blue Tatooine base. This is really cool looking. I think it's one of the coolest looking bases they've released. And while we're talking about this idea that we're going to start seeing cards that synergize with bases, Here's an example. The Ritual Dragon is an 8/6/9 creature with Saboteur. While you control a Tatooine base, like the Dune Sea, friendly units enter play ready, including this one. This is a super nice ability, and I'm really interested to see how some other cards can come in to this obvious synergy with a Tatooine base, and what kind of things can come in and synergize with the fact that this is a creature, or that it other units are going to be entering play ready, or what that kind of thing. This is going to be really fun to build around. It will probably become kind of a staple in Kanan decks as long as they exist, because the Great Pit of Carcoon is a Tatooine base, and that I when I built my Kanan deck, I used the Great Pit of Carcoon, and I have the Sarlacc in there. So you just you, do you slot it in? I mean, yeah, or do you switch colors or whatever? It's really interesting. It's a fun unit. So this is the main mechanic of the set right here, is just this synergy with locations, and this is going to drive some really fun interactions. So one of the other things that we had a feeling would be happening, but now we definitely know is happening, is Ewoks. Now I'm going to apologize right away. A lot of these are going to be lower quality because I tried to find every card that we've seen, even ones that we don't really have high quality pictures of yet. This is one of our new Ewok units. When another friendly unit that costs 3 or less is dealt damage, most of the Ewoks, you may deal 1 damage to an enemy unit, and it's in green-red. This is going to be great with a lot of the new Ewoks from Ashes of the Empire, which are all like some combination of green, red, and white, as far as I know, and so you could have no trouble building a fun Ewok deck. Also, we have Village Troublemaker, again, a red unit. While you control an Endor base, this unit gains Hidden and Saboteur. Very, very cool. Ewok Archers is a heroism unit. It's 3 or less. It is while you control another unit that costs 3 or less, this unit gains Ambush. So this is really interesting because what I'm seeing here is these two cards both gain a when played ability when you control something else already, which is not something we've seen a lot of prior to, I think, Ashes of the Empire was where we started to see some cards like that. I'm sure there were some cards like it before, but it hasn't really been super common that I can think of. And it's really interesting to see. Um, I don't know if we're seeing quite the stat boost that we would want for something that's, that conditional, but obviously, if you're going to have a card that conditional, you're going to have the deck built around it to use its condition. So, Adamant Ewoks. When played, if you control another Ewok unit or an indoor base, you may deal 1 damage to a base and 1 damage to an enemy unit. That's crazy for a 2/3/2. That is crazy. If that didn't have those two conditions, oh my gosh, that would just be crazy. But even still, it's still really good. We're starting to see, this is interesting. This one is while you control an Endor base. The other one is while you control another unit that costs 3 or less. You're going to see some that are while you control a blank unit. This one is one that you're going to see occasionally while you control a blank unit and a blank base, or a blank unit or a blank base. So that's going to be really interesting to build around, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, let's look at C3PO. When played, you may give an Ewok unit +2/+2 for this phase, and you may give a Rebel unit +2/+2 for this phase. Super cool, because you're going to be able to build these decks that have dual synergy with the Ewoks and the Rebels, which was already kind of the only thing you could really do with Ewoks, was just kind of stick them in a deck, kind of thematic deck of Rebels. But this is really going to add some fun combos right there. So another thing that we've been hoping we would get, and boy did we get it, Gungans, Boss Nass. When played on attack, you may defeat a shield token on a friendly Gungan unit. If you do, create a beast token and give a shield token to it. Okay, interesting. So he's a 4/4/6 Gungan official. Very, very interesting. What do we have here? Gunga City Guard. 2/2/1, restore 1, while you control another Gungan unit or a Naboo base. This unit gains shielded, yet another when played keyword that only is conditioned upon you controlling either a Gungan unit or a Nabu base. Very interesting. Very interesting. And then, of course, if it's shielded, and when you play this, you can defeat the shield token on it and then create a beast token to give a shield token to it. We'll see later what a beast token is. So, yeah, the Gungans are going to be super fun. I think there's finally going to be enough to do something with them. We'll probably see a few as well in icons that'll round out the set, kind of like they did with Ashes, where they introduced a few Ewoks, and they're going to be introducing a lot more Ewoks in this set. I feel like they might be able to do that with a couple of the other tribes in this set, and then in icons, particularly the Gungans. It feels like might happen because there really aren't a lot of them to begin with. Ezra Bridger, he's a 4/5/4 Force Rebel Spectre. Yet another Spectre to stick in a Hera deck, right? When you take the initiative, you may deal 3 damage to your base. If you do, create a beast token. Now remember, Boss Nass has the ability to create a beast token and give a shield token to it, right? Which is kind of crazy when you consider what a beast token actually is, because this is a beast token. It is a 0/3/3 token unit. That's big. And if Boss Nass is creating one of those and giving a shield token to it, I'm not gonna lie. If you're in a deck that's very healing, you have Ezra Bridger, you're putting 3 damage on your base, you're gonna heal it right off with your next, your next restore, but then you have a 3/3 body out. Could be really good. These could be really good. Now, unfortunately, I don't have them, but there are other arts for the beast tokens. I don't even remember where I saw them or how to find them again. If you do, let me know. But they're really cool. This one right here looks a little bit too Magic the Gathering for me, but the other one, another one of the other 3 looks really good, and the other one's good too, but these are going to be super fun to play with. Next up, let's explore a little bit of the villainy. The Inferno Squad. This is interesting. When played when defeated, you may deal 1 damage to a unit and give a weakness token to it. Interesting. This is a weakness token. It is a -1/-1. So we got the advantage token, and now we have the weakness token. This is really interesting. I think the only way to conclude now is they're going to make a temporary -1/-0 buff now, right? Right? Because we have the +1, the +1, the +1, the +0 temporary. Now we have the -1, the -1. Now they have to make the -1/-0 temporary, right? Do I think they will? No, but it'd be funny. This is funny too as well though, because like if you're playing this on a unit with 2 health, you just defeated that unit because you removed 1 of its health and dealt 2 damage to it. So it's kind of crazy. It's a fun card. It's a 5/3/6, and that's also when defeated. So it's a good card. It's a good card right there. Speaking of weakness tokens, Clone X Assassin. Now I was just recently watching some of the Star Wars shows, and I was able to see this character in action. And this is really cool. Really cool. When defeated, you may give a weakness token to a unit. It's a 2/1/3. Could the stat beyond be a little bit better for what I think is kind of a okay when defeated ability? And of course, when defeated abilities are again okay because sometimes your units don't get defeated. So, but I don't think it's a great card, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to use, especially in limited. Um, so that's our weakness tokens. That's one of the. We've also seen the beast tokens. So we've seen the new tokens. We've seen a lot of the new synergies. While we're here, let's take a look at some of the Wookiees. While you control another Wookiee unit or a Kashyyyk base, this unit gains Sentinel. Now notice, so far I have yet to see a card that says another blank unit and a blank base. It's always or. Now, will there possibly be some that require both? Maybe. If they do, they're probably going to be super overpowered. At least I would expect them to be. This one, though, if you're playing with a Kashyyyk base, it's always a Sentinel. So, and to be honest, I don't know why you would play it as otherwise. It's kind of just limited to, you kind of have to play a Kashyyyk base. So super fun. It's a great unit though. It's a 5.56 Sentinel. It's a good stat. It's a good stat, and it's a Wookiee, so it'll interact with other things. Hijacked ATST is interesting. It's a 5.77 with Overwhelm. But when played, this unit doesn't ready during the next regroup phase. Interesting. Tuck that away. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Chewbacca's Bowcaster. Attached to a non-vehicle unit. When played, if attached unit is Chewbacca, resource the top card of your deck. Okay, this is awesome. This is more ramp. And this is going to be super useful. And also, can we also mention that I'm glad to see that they are putting into practice this new policy of just saying resource as a verb instead of put into play as a resource, which is 6 words instead of 1. You know, put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. Yeah, it's crazy. It's an extra 6 words. So this is so much better. It does interplay exhausted. It specifies that. Unless otherwise, I think it is a interplay exhausted unless it otherwise specifies. But this is a cool card. I think another thing we should mention is that I love that it buffs the health only a little bit, and then the power a good amount. Because of course, what is this going to be used for? Well, of course, to buff up the new Chewbacca Spotlight Leader, right? Because of course, Spotlight Leaders, as you can see, he's a 5.36 on deploy. Leaders almost always have lower power than they do health, because you want them to last for a while. This is an interesting leader. Action, cost 2, exhaust, attack with the unit, even if it's exhausted. It can't attack bases for this attack. Now, I don't think this is a great ability. It has shades of Lawless, Leia. I think a little bit better than Lawless Leia, for sure, because the ability is good. It's just the cost isn't. If it was 1, that would be good, really good. It would feel a lot more playable. But I get it. If it was that, I could get really, really overpowered really fast. So I get it. I really do. And of course, when he flips, he's even better because it's just an action. Attack with a unit, even if it's exhausted. It can't attack base with attack. Uses the ability only once each round. It's interesting that it's not on attack because then you would be doing action cheating. But yeah, I think because it's an action, separate action, it makes it a little more versatile so that, like you're not like having to have an exhausted unit and then attack to then kind of do the support mechanic of attacking with it. You can just wait until you've attacked, and then you have all your units exhausted, and then you can attack with the unit even if it's exhausted. And to be honest, it could even be this unit. It doesn't specify, so it could attack with a unit even if it's exhausted. So really cool. It looks like a great card, and as well, I think if you go back to our ATST that doesn't ready until the next regroup phase, that 5.77. With this, you can still get an attack in with it, either by paying or more likely just by using his action after he flips, because of course that's a 5-drop. So you should already have flipped by the time you're playing that, at the very least. So this is one of the new Spotlight Leaders, and it is super cool. Now we're going to move on and talk a little bit about what I think is the coolest part of this new set, and that is a new keyword that appears on upgrades called Fortify, which means you attach this not to a unit, but to your base. Now, notice, first of all, there are no numbers. We are not adding power or health to our base. Am I slightly disappointed by that? Maybe a little. Maybe a little. But I get it. That's a lot to keep track of, and we don't want people powering up their bases and making the game go longer. Because when you choose a base, you're choosing how much health you're going to get. I just don't. I don't like. We shouldn't be changing like the printed power of your health, if you know what I mean, right? It kind of makes me think of like Donald Duck in Lorcana. It's really cool. It's pretty overpowered. It's become part of the game. Sometimes some games you're gonna have Donald Duck, some games you aren't. You kind of have to be prepared for it. We don't want that in Star Wars Unlimited. We already have a lot of healing and everything, blah blah blah. But This can still be huge. Huge. This one, for example, is a heroism. When a non-leader ground unit enters play, you may defeat this upgrade. If you do, deal 3 damage to that unit. Now, I find it interesting, it says including token units, and it says 3 damage, which means this can deal with beast tokens right away. If that's what you want to do with it. Maybe you want to put 3 damage on something and then swing into it to defeat it. It really depends on what you want to do. This is really cool. Fortify. This is like a good unit, I think. I don't know if you're going to play this super often. I don't think this will really make it too far out of limited. But it's really cool. And I think the mechanic is really awesome. Now, for cards that are going to make it out of limited, I think this is a good candidate. Oh my gosh. If attached base would be dealt 5 or more damage, prevent that damage. If you do, defeat this upgrade and draw a card. For 2. You play this for 2. You stick this into your deck as a 2-drop. And it's like, you feel good about it, to be frank, because at some point you're going to get to the point where somebody is dealing 6 damage to your base, and you're like, now let's get another card. It's amazing. Am I right? Am I right? Amazing. Amazing. So good. Love this. I will be playing this a lot. And so incredibly thematic, too. That the shield generator, it's super cool. It reminds me of some of the cards from IBH. Now, let's get into villainy fortifications. The Tarkin Doctrine. Fortify. Attach base gains when you play a fortification upgrade, exhaust an enemy unit. That's really nice. Attached base gains an ability. Okay, that's crazy. When played, if you control Grand Moff Tarkin, give an enemy unit -3/-0 for this phase. Notice it says Grand Moff Tarkin, so that could be a base or a unit. So that's really cool. This is a law upgrade, which is really interesting. Let's move on here. We got Carbonite Chamber. I'm noticing that a lot of these fortifications are really cheap, which is really cool. It's like, okay, this is just something extra that you're sticking onto your base. These seem like really good value for the cost. Action, defeat this upgrade, choose a non-vehicle unit. It doesn't ready during the next regroup phase. Wow. And like, how thematic is that? Like, it really, oh my gosh, it's so good. Vice Admiral Rampart. This is awesome. If an upgrade on your base would be defeated, you may defeat this unit instead. So, do you remember the shield generator one? Like, I know that one's heroism and this is villainy, but like, imagine for a second you have something like that if you deal more than 5 damage to a base, you just defeat that and prevent that damage. Well, if I have Vice Admiral Rampart, I just defeat him and then I keep that on there for your next attack that's more than 5. Crazy. Crazy. And the other thing too, this is an Imperial official. I don't know if there's people out there who are like playing Palp 5, or I'm sorry, Palp 6, which, to be honest, I'm trying to build a Palpatine 6 because it's kind of cool and I'd like to make it work. Unfortunately, it's going to become eternal very quickly, but I am. This will be huge in it because you can stick some fortifications in there. You can stick the Tarkin Doctrine in there. You can put Vice Admiral Rampart. Oh man, it's so cool. Speaking of which, Director Krennic, another Imperial official, on attack. If your base is upgraded, draw a card. It's a 3/3/4. I'm telling you, this is some great stuff. This is some great stuff. And last of all, Remote Scout. 2/1/3/1 plates. Search the top 8 cards of your deck for an upgrade, reveal it, and draw it. So because fortifications are not a new type of card, they're just an upgrade, all the cards in existence that mention upgrades interact with these cards unless those cards specify that they are to be attached to a unit. So this could be crazy. Now think about the fact that they just released the armorer. And the armorer says you play an upgrade on a unit that entered play this phase. So they covered their bases. They covered their bases to make sure didn't even I didn't even do that on purpose. They covered their bases because I didn't want it to wind up so that you were playing fortifications with it. But like, there's a lot of stuff that's still going to interact with fortifications really well. Upgrade hate is still going to work on it. So this is some really cool stuff. And finally, we've seen some of the fortifications, and bam, this is what they're for. Ignore the aspect penalties and upgrades to fortify you play. Oh my gosh. We just saw a red white one, a blue white one, a red black, I'm sorry, a yellow black, and then a blue black. All four of those can be played in Grand Moff Tarkin. Notice it doesn't say ignore the non-heroism aspect penalties. It says ignore the aspect penalties. That's kind of that's kind of overpowered. That's very overpowered. In fact, I'm surprised they did that, and I feel like that's going to make this leader more powerful than he would otherwise have been. Now, you might be looking at Tarkin and going, okay, now maybe some of you already know, but like some of you are probably thinking 9 to 12. How are you going to keep the game going that long to flip them, right? Well, those fortifications are going to help, and to be frank, they better not, because if they don't, and this thing pops out in the space arena, you lose. The Death Star is the flip. Okay, Tyrant of the Outer Rim, Grand Moff Tarkin, flips as the icon of tyranny, the Death Star. I can't, man. I was blown away when I saw this for the first time. It is so flippin' cool. It still has that constant ability for aspect penalties on fortification upgrades. And then it's an Imperial vehicle capital ship, which is some cool traits. And when the regroup phase starts, you may defeat a base with 10 or less remaining health. Crazy. Crazy. This has got to become part of the meta in some way, right? Tarkin has to. There has to be some possibility of Tarkin. Like, you have to realize. We just got Chimera and Pre Vizsla. What were they setting up? They're setting up Tarkin to be like the broken leader now. I can't, man. It's going to be crazy. Will he work? I don't know. We'll have to see. Is there going to be enough fortifications for him to work? Is going to be the question, because that's his ability. And that's what he's going to need, because he's going to flip on 9. But the fact of the matter is, Thrawn, if you play him right, if you construct him right, has been able to push that for a while. And there are non-heroism units in Luke that help him to push the game up to sometimes really high, and there are blue units in Mando Colossus that are helping that deck to push sometimes to 15 to 20 resources. So this could happen, and to be frank, once it comes out, it has 12 health, and all your opponent has to do, he just has to swing a couple times with whatever finisher else he has. If he's played the Primera and the Pre Vizsla and they're still there, you're dead. So this is going to be crazy. This is going to be crazy. I am so excited. This is another thing that I was talking about at Weekly Play this past week. Like, this is what we're going to get, right? Right? And yeah, for sure. For sure we are. This is some amazing stuff. What are my impressions of the set? What's it going to be like? First of all, I think it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Now, if I go back to my tier list, is it going to fall where I said it was going to fall? I don't know. It could fall a little higher. I'm not sure. Feel free to go back and watch that if you're not sure where I placed it. But my general impression of the set is that it's going to wind up being this really, really, really cool set in Limited with a lot of cards that have a lot of really cool synergies, and it's going to produce some really fun decks. But I feel like a lot of the cards are just going to be so synergistic that they're not going to have enough general appeal to fit into decks that are going to have competitiveness. So I do think there's going to be, I think there's going to be some cards that are going to be really good to fit into other thematic things already. And then a lot of the cards are just simply going to be useful for the kind of thematic decks that this is kind of trying to build in its limited environment. You know what I mean? Which was going to make limited in this so much fun, like especially draft. Draft in Homeworlds is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Take everything I just said and throw it out the window for Fortify, because I think Fortify is going to become huge. I think this is going to, when I did my tier list on the sets, I think one of the things I spent a lot of time on was Jump to Lightspeed, because the piloting mechanic revolutionized the game in a way that nothing in the last two sets before it had, and I don't think anything in any of the sets since has. And I think Fortify is the new piloting. Not that I'm saying like, oh, it's going to be the successor because we're losing piloting and now we're getting, no, that's not what I mean. They better be bringing back pilots. That let me make that clear. But what I'm saying is um, it's the new paradigm shift in the game, the new revolutionary keyword that's just going to take over how the game functions. Like, there is hardly any decks anymore that are competitive, really, that don't run at least one or two pilots. Like, some Vaders run Wingman Victor 2. Lando, who not really meta now, but he would run Han, obviously. Um, you know, gets CAD run any? I'm not sure, but like it's huge. Most of the decks that you're going to find that are really good decks, they have some form of piloting because they're just so versatile and so incredibly powerful. Fortifications, I think, are going to become like that. They're going to become really huge in the game. I think that there's going to be some fortifications that are going to slot into decks that are really strong competitively right now and are just going to make them that much stronger, as well as giving other decks the ability to fight back against what I see as meta stealers like CAD, and frankly, I hate to say it, Ahsoka too. Um, I've loved Ahsoka from the beginning. She's just such a good leader, and I shamelessly think she's like I shamelessly think she's the best in the set. Now, CAD is obviously better, but I just hate CAD because because I can, and they've just kind of stolen the meta, if you know what I mean. 24% of the decks, was it in, yeah, was it in the full Galactics or was it just in day two? I don't remember, but like 24% of the decks were CAD, I think, on day two of the Galactics. That's crazy. That's crazy. And they're gonna have to do something about it. Does that mean CAD gets banned? I don't know, man. If he doesn't, that's just what you're gonna be playing against all the time. It's the new Boba. Gosh, I hate Boba. So glad it's dead now. I say that for two reasons. First of all, because it's going out of rotation in March. Can't be soon enough for me. And second of all, it went down the drain at Galactics. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like, obviously, it still did good, but like, man. That's not to say everything against the people playing Boba. I know people who play Boba. It's annoying, but I get it. It's a good deck. I just hate it. So anyway, I think my general impression is that Fortify is going to be huge. There's going to be a few other cards I think that are going to slot in thematically with other decks. Otherwise, I think a lot of this set is just going to be really, really fun and limited and not super competitive. But I'm super excited. This is just going to be such a blast. And the only bad thing about this is that we have to wait for October now. Okay. Well, I think that's enough to chat about. Maybe in the future, if we get a bunch more spoilers on Homeworlds, I'll maybe put out another video talking about them, giving my impressions. I might do a video on some of the cards you've already seen from Icons if you'd like to see some of that. There's some cool cards. In fact, even a couple that were spoiled um, as some of the Homeworlds cards came out that we had not seen before. So we could talk about some of those. But otherwise, I hope that you enjoy this and that you have a great rest of your day, whatever time of day you're watching this. For me, it is early morning when I love to be up the most. I am a night owl. I like it that way. So thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all later. Bye bye.